There aren't many things more satisfying than hitting a quad feed in Call of Duty, which is probably why they thought it'd be a good challenge in the killer challenges. With that said, there's actually 2 killer challenges pertaining to the quad feed. The first is called the Fury Killer, which is to simply earn a Fury Medal or 4 rapid kills. You get an icon for the emblem creator as a reward for this. The harder challenge is called the Feed Greed, where you have to earn 10 Fury Medals or 4 uninterrupted kills in the kill feed. The reward for completing this challenge is a calling card. The card features an angry pig wearing a bib harpooning a sausage. Awesomely weird. So there's a variety of ways of achieving a Fury Medal. In most cases, luck plays a large part. If you happen to be in the right place at the right time, 4 enemies may just be lined up and ripe for the killing. Of course, a quad feed is also possible by using score streaks. You can use a single score streak such as the Vulcan with 2 bursts and accomplish 4 rapid kills. The Walker tanks, which are a map-based score streak on comeback, are also useful in obtaining a quad feed. I found that the Stinger is also very viable in disposing of 4 enemies at once, especially in objective game modes such as Momentum, where people tend to congregate. You'll want to use a tactic that greatly increases your odds of achieving a quad feed. And with that said, we're going to turn our attention simply on the bombing run. The bombing run offers the greatest possibility for achieving a quad feed. Of course, you won't always get one, but they'll be far more common than randomly finding 4 clustered enemies, or getting lucky with another score streak that has a low chance of getting a quad feed to begin with. So let me briefly cover how to effectively use the bombing run to achieve these Fury Medals, and then I'll show you a tactic that almost will guarantee you get a bombing run every match, and with very little skill required. First, let's do a little bombing run score streak review. So as you should know, the bombing run unleashes a directed bombardment on the battlefield, causing destruction across the map. You can use it to deny an entire strip of the map from the enemy team. And this is relevant in modes like Uplink and Capture the Flag, where your team may need a clear path to a specific goal. It's also very useful, obviously, on outdoor maps with limited cover. Note that you don't need to get fancy with any modules on this bombing run. Sure, the additional bomber is nice and will greatly increase your odds of getting rapid kills, but the cost is simply way too high for the average player to achieve. The stealth module can also be handy, but we can achieve this same effect without increasing the cost of earning the bombing run. But we'll discuss that later. So in short, the stock bombing run works just fine. Do not add any modules. Next, you have to know how to call this sucker in. The call-in screen is pretty strange. You get to select the position on the map where you want the bombing run to drop the bombs at, as well as the direction you want it to go. Unfortunately, this screen has the Crackhead Pro perk and puts your sensitivity at over 9,000. So while you attempt to casually mark where you want it to go, it goes haywire and flies all over the place, making it very difficult to place a precise strike. To further complicate things, you often get the red indicator, which means you can't call in the bombing run there. I've spent upwards of 20 seconds trying to call this in before. This, of course, is not helpful when things are hectic in the game to begin with. Now let's discuss the speed at which the bombing run arrives. I'm sure some of you have noticed this, but the position you decide for the bombing run can determine how fast it actually arrives on the map. So on the placement screen, you get a large circle radius where you want the majority of bombs to drop. You get an arrowhead to show the direction of the bombing run, and you get the tail section, which indicates the speed of the bombing run itself. With that information, if you put the arrowhead at the far end of the map in the direction you want, which puts the tail portion also towards the edge of the map, the bombing run will arrive to the map with almost double the speed of normal. This leaves very little time for people to retreat with their whissy tails tucked between their legs. On the other hand, and I don't recommend you do this, but just for comparison purposes, if you put the arrowhead on the far side closest to where you're calling it in from, which also puts the tail end way out in the black portion of the map, it'll take nearly double the speed to arrive. Now I've tested the first method quite a bit with regard to if this makes some of the bombs not actually drop on the map or not. And it's hard to say, but I believe it doesn't. It does alter the course of where the bombs drop a bit, but the benefit of it coming in twice as fast and dropping the same bomb load is worth it. Okay, so now you know what we're going to use to achieve the quad feeds, but let's talk about how you're going to earn the bombing run, and thus a class setup. I get some complaints from time to time in my videos when I talk class setups because people say they can't earn higher costing score streaks, and that, my friends, is some Mickey Mouse bull squash. For your quad feed loadout, there are 4 things you absolutely have to make this work. First is the hardline perk. This is mandatory with no exceptions. If you feel you can't give up toughness or blast suppressor, then eliminate something else to add 2 perks in tier 3. But you must run hardline. Second, the bombing run itself with no modules. Next, the UAV score streak with 3 modules. Support, extra time, and extra assist points. Lastly, the aerial recon drone with 3 modules. Support, increased lifetime, and EMP grenades. With these 4 things, you're almost guaranteed to earn a bombing run. But don't just take my word for it, allow me to show you. The UAV and the recon drone will both be earned regardless of how skilled a player you are due to this support module. And with the hardline perk, it doesn't take much effort at all to earn these 2 streaks. You'll want to then get both of these streaks at the same time. My goal here is to demonstrate how easy this can make getting the bombing run. So notice that I have absolutely no progress towards my bombing run here. I had just died and respawned. So you first have to call in the UAV and then enter the recon drone immediately after. Once airborne, pound the buttons that fire the threat grenades and the EMP grenades at the same time. Even when they're reloading, just keep hitting the buttons so they activate as soon as they're available. The EMP grenades will not only shut down exo abilities and cause extreme annoyance, but they can also destroy equipment and streaks such as the sentry gun. So each time you tag someone or spot them, you receive 25 points. This lights them up in a glowing red outline, just like using a threat detection grenade, which makes them very easily picked off by your teammates. And every time your teammate gets a kill, you'll get another 15 points thanks to your UAV. So basically, every time you tag a person, you get 40 points. Now thanks to the increased lifetime module, which extends the duration of the drone from 30 seconds to 45 seconds, you get more time to mark and EMP your targets. As long as you can keep the drone alive for the full duration, you can usually come out earning the bombing run itself, or at least coming within 1 kill of earning it. And with hardline, that's 625 points with this setup for doing absolutely nothing that requires skill. Even my 2-year-old son could pound the 2 buttons repeatedly and earn a bombing run this way. You can even run a 4th offensive score streak and be 1 step closer to earning that as well. In this particular gameplay clip, I'm running the missile strike with 2 extra missiles and the Hellfire missile. That's an 850 point score streak to earn with hardline. And I earned that streak as well, again without even firing my gun. I should note that even if your body dies while you're flying around in the recon drone, any points you earn while still up in it count. So if you couple this strategy along with the ground war mode, you'll earn bombing runs effortlessly. As an example, I just recently had a game in ground war where I set a new personal best for myself. 85 tags with the recon drone in 1 match. From the tags alone, that's 2,125 points. That's equivalent to almost 4 bombing run streaks without even firing my gun. And that's also not including all the UAV assist points I got, mind you. Of course, this strategy also works in non-ground war game modes as well, but since there's less enemies, you get less points. It's still possible to do this, of course, or it'll put you at least 1 kill away from it. So there you have it. Now you can earn a bombing run every match with little effort, call it in faster to maximize the kills, and be well on your way to earning the 10 Fury kills. The best part is you don't have to play ground war to achieve these medals. It's perfectly practical to kill 4 out of the 6 enemies in non-ground war game modes. To maximize your chances for a Fury kill, you can add Danger Close as a perk. Or you can couple a 4th offensive score streak at the same time as your bombing run is active, such as the Missile Strike or the Vulcan. Also, as I mentioned in my last Killer Challenge video, you can add the System Hack streak as your 4th and call it in right before you call in the bombing run. And this will blur the enemy's radar, which basically adds the stealth module to your bombing run for free. They won't be able to tell where your bombing run's coming in from, essentially buffing the score streak. And if you're lucky, you could get more than 4 kills. However, if you get a triple kill or less, don't be discouraged. Just keep at it. So say Geronimo and bombs away.